And now you know the rest of the story.
All right, well, the 82 really hasn't moved that much, as in probably hardly at all. I'm not gonna lie, I still got a little bit to do to it yet, no big deal. We got a light burned out in the machine shed. And granted, everybody complains about the lights in here. We only have 3. That's all Grandpa had them wire in, because Grandpa, when he first built this machine shed, he had no intention of really using it as a workshop, a work area. It was purely just a place to store machinery. Because when Grandpa built this machine shed, they were still actively milking, and all of his tools and everything were actually down in the machine shed at my place. So none of this was put in until my dad started working with my grandpa. At least that's according to my dad. My dad's the one that put this workbench in up here. The shed down at my place, I don't know if I've really shown it. Granted, you guys have probably seen it in videos I've done, but this parts bin used to be down at my place. We moved it up here because it's a lot more handier up here. It really needs to be gone through, and I'm already getting off topic of my video, but these are the videos where I shine. This whole parts bin needs to be gone through again. When we moved it up here, and gosh, I don't know how long. I mean, I was part of moving it up here, but I want to say we did it when I was in high school, and it needs to be gone through. It needs some X-lax. For the lack of a better word, it just needs to be gone through. All the random tools and stuff. I mean, here, I can pull this out, and okay, radiator cap off of the Kawasaki Mule. Really don't have a whole lot of need for this anymore now, do we? And really, we just need organization again. It's way too easy to just go through, use stuff, and put it back randomly where it really shouldn't belong. But to be honest, our whole process of stowing stuff away kind of got thrown to the wayside. We got to go through. I mean, we have the electrical spot and just the random chisel plow, disc bind, combine head, combine, round baler teeth, chopper, planter, but we just need to go through and just do a big flush again. It'd be a lot easier to find some stuff. So the 8235R hasn't really been doing a whole lot here lately, and the 4640 between these two tractors is probably going to get called the duty. Yeah, to be honest, the 4640 is probably going to see field work before the 82 at the rate we're going, and we need to pull the corn planter out. So yes, those of you that want to see the 8235R on our little, yeah, that's right, little 12-row corn planter, it's probably going to happen. Not to be actually used, but to get the planter pulled out in the open here. We got the seed boxes back out of the back in the corner, and we got to go through. This wagon has some beans on it yet, which it really isn't a big deal. We'll just probably move it back over to out of the way, get the corn planter out here and fold it out. Dad ordered a bunch of roller chains for it, all of the main chains and all the chains to the clutches. We aren't going to go through and replace the chains going back to the insecticide boxes. It's wasted money, at least for us. The reason I say that is because now that we have the liquid on the planter, we can use the insecticide, the same stuff that we were using the insecticide boxes for, but in liquid form, through the fertilizer tank, through the liquid fertilizer system. And that actually is going to save us quite a bit more money on the ground where we really need to put insecticide down, and we haven't actually done that in 2 or 3 years. And the fact that we can go through and put it down in liquid form significantly cheaper than we could with the granular just makes sense. There was one instance where we did go through, the last year we actually ran anything through the insecticide boxes. It wasn't even insecticide, it was actually granular zinc. We put it on those soybeans, those no-till soybeans that Ryan and I had, and we did put it on some of our corn. It definitely showed on the corn. I don't remember the exact numbers anymore, but we actually ran it out on Ryan's soybeans. And you could see right to where the insecticide ran out on the map as to where it was starting to flutter out, because half the field was a deeper green, not a huge dark green, and I gotta go shut that gate before I forget it. But then once you got up over the hill, I mean, same field, it really isn't a big difference in soil type or anything. And the only thing different that we actually had on that part of the field was the fact that we didn't have that granular zinc. But we can also put that through the liquid too. So liquid just works better. Or, well, it's a little bit less work, so a little bit less stressful, I guess. I used to do quick roots. Quick roots is it's a replacement for graphite, actually. It's to help with root growth. I got away from it and I went and started using rapidity and pacer, which I thought worked really well because quick roots was, applied onto the seed. Rapidity and pacer at the time, they were put into the liquid tank also, so they were applied right to the seed, so I knew they were all getting uniformly covered. And I got away from quick roots. Andrew, not to throw any dirt on Andrew because he's doing exactly what I asked him to do, was to find me more of the biologicals and these extra products to help with root growth, plant growth. And Andrew did happen to find me at least one product that I am going to try. He gave it to me and then he took it back. So I told him to go get me a jug of it because I need, well, he didn't bring me enough, that's for sure. But I'm going to go through and do all of my corn, at least that's the plan. And I'll probably leave a test strip to see how that performs. But then I am going to put it on my soybeans. Now soybeans are a plant that typically bush out. If you look at a soybean root upside down, like if you dug it out of the ground and held it up out of the ground, it actually bushes out underneath the ground, and having more root mass is going to allow it to pick up as many more nutrients as it can out of the ground. Corn, the problem with corn is that's actually more of like an upside down carrot. Corn doesn't like to branch out too much. Actually, with corn, from what I've seen, this is an example, it's not exactly what it does, but it's a good idea that corn is like an upside down carrot. So it actually starts out from the seed of the plant and it actually expands out. It goes down and out, more of a narrow stretch, narrow band, I guess I want to say, as opposed to like soybeans. That's why when I go through and I cultivate, I have those. I really should get the cultivator up here too. I got a bunch of like maintenance stuff that we got to start working on, but that's why I don't really worry too much as far as going through with the row cultivator. We have those, I think they're 4-inch sweeps. We had some 7s. I'd really not crazy about them because they're whipping too much dirt over on the plant and we're affecting our stand because we're knocking plants over. But the 4-inch sweeps, they move just enough dirt where they're whipping the dirt up and they're rolling it right up to the bottom of the stalk, and it's covering that nitrogen and that liquid I'm putting down with the cultivator. So, every year you learn stuff, and I thought the wider sweeps would have been actually more efficient. I thought they would work better, and they almost work. They work too good. It's not that they're bad or anything. It's just that they work too well, especially when we start cultivating when the plant is fairly small yet. Just to try to get everything covered, because you are limited by the amount of acres you can cover doing a job like that, especially with weather. Everybody wants me to put a liquid tank in the 40-20, but it just isn't going to happen. It's not worth it. I can cover about 40 acres to a fill with the 40-20, and you get cruising right along with that. You can cover a lot of ground really quick. So the 82's got to go in the corn planter. That's got to be done. The 4640 is going to end up on the chisel plow. New seeding has to be put in, and I don't know if we're looking at like another week. We really need a nice warm rain to get the frost out of the ground, and then we have a bunch of chisel plowing we have to do on all of our ground that's going to be newly seeded into oats and alfalfa. So that has to be done, and then we got to focus on our corn acres. So we're trying to limit the amount of tillage we got to do, but it still seems like we have a lot of tillage. So yeah. Gosh, I know this video is going to get long, but The corn planter on the 8235R as opposed to the 4640. All right, the reason that the 8235R does not go on the corn planter, I get asked this question quite a bit. We had a friend, a viewer from down in Brazil, actually asked us exactly that. That was his biggest question that he actually hit us with, was why do we bother planting with the 4640 when we have this nice, comfortable, high horsepowered tractor to plant with? Well, key in point, the corn planter does not pull very hard at all. I mean, the liquid on it, when that tank is full, you know it's back there, but it's not the end of the world. It can pull just fine. I mean, you don't slip or anything with the 46. You might feel a little bit light on the front end, but not so bad that you're using the brakes, the left and right brakes, to turn the tractor. So even on our hills, the 4640 is able to pull the planter just fine. Especially with the two-wheel drive, it allows us to turn fairly sharp. The 7600 and the 7400 at one point, I believe the 7400, I think that was before Ryan started posting online, but we've used the mechanical front wheel drive to plant with the 6-row, and it couldn't turn sharp enough. The 7600 could turn plenty sharp enough with the 12-row, but especially like with the tires and everything else on it, I'm not about to put the duals in the 76. I could. The only reason I'm not is just because I simply don't want to. We don't need to. I don't want to put the duals in my 76. So long and short of that. The 46, it's set up. It has the guidance. It has all the wiring. It has the on-track module. It has all the wiring for running the planter, and it does it well. The other problem we have is that you guys can't see it, so I'm not even gonna bother. Just trust me, the 630 John Deere disc is back there and the Earthmaster VT right here. The 4640 cannot pull those at the speed that they need to be pulled. The reason we know that, not the Earthmaster, but the 630 disc, the first year in 2014 when we were running, we didn't have the 82, so we were planting with the 7600 and we were tilling, doing seed bed prep with the 4640. Okay, only problem is that the 4640 was doing a fair amount of digging, struggling, definitely doing a lot of steering with the rear brakes to turn that tractor around, because that 630 mine, it's a 25 foot disc. Going through on soft, worked ground that is, say it's been chisel plowed, which is what we were doing, chisel plow it, and then we were discing it twice, and the 46 was having a hard time staying ahead of the corn planter. Yes, just a 6-row. But the 46 was having a hard time getting its feet spinning and getting traction and moving, just because that 630 takes a lot of power to pull. The Earthmaster, don't get me wrong, I'm sure the 46 can pull it. I'm sure it probably pulls it all right in the fall in stalks that haven't been worked and going through and hitting corn stalks. The only problem is, to do a good job, you need to pull that between 6 and 8 miles an hour, and they really lean heavily towards that 8 mile an hour plus to really do a good job of processing and moving the material through the field. So I have my doubts that the 4640 can handle pulling it. I think we all do. The 4640 is not stock. It was 180 horsepower from the factory. They dynoed it when Dad bought it. It was dynoed at 200 horsepower. My friend and I, my friend Ryan, we went through and we may have turned the 46 up just a little bit. We gave it right around 25 horse. So technically the 4640 is putting out approximately what the 82 is rated at. 225 horse is what I would put the 4640 at. And it does a good job pulling the chisel plow. The 82 does a great job pulling the chisel plow. The only thing about putting the 82 on the chisel plow is that while it does lug the tractor, because when I chisel plow, I drop it down on the ground and I don't pick it back up. I let the tractor work the ground like it's supposed to. The only thing I'm worried about is the tractor doesn't give, and then if the chisel plow doesn't give, you rip the chisel plow apart. That 6500 concert till that we're pulling, it's not a very heavy machine. I'm sorry for any Red fans that like those machines. I had a 4500 Case IH, 20-foot Case IH folding disc. I mean, it only had like 5 or 6 blades in the wings. I was proud of myself. That was the first real implement that I ever bought, but the problem is it left ribbons in the field terribly. It wanted to walk through the field, and no matter how fast, how slow you went, it just did not do a very good job. That's why the 630 showed up. And honestly, I'm getting to where I'm kind of getting past the 630. I'm really starting to flirt with the idea of maybe going to like a cultivator, a field cultivator. Not in all of our ground, but I'm wondering how well a cultivator would work, like with a drag harrow or something behind it, for our soybean stubble. Not for our corn on corn ground, not for anything like that, but for going through and just hitting it once, the soybean stubble once, to warm that soil up, get it leveled, and then go and plant it. I'm really wondering. And you can pick up a cultivator for a relatively reasonable price, but that's just me spitballing right now. So yes, the whole point of this video was to explain why we don't put the 8235 on the corn planter. A, we don't need to. The 4640 handles it just fine. B, the 8235 is our tillage tractor. It is our high horsepower tractor. It is our go-to tillage machine, and that is exactly what she does. She does her job very well. The 4640, we've never put it on the VT. Anybody that's hoping we will, prepare to be disappointed. It's just, when it works, it works. The planter works great on the 46. Would we put it on the 7600? Would we do up the 76 and put the planter on it? If we were forced to, yes. Would the 76 handle it? Absolutely. If we got a bigger tractor than the 82, would we put the corn planter on it? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe run two tillage tools. I don't know. I really couldn't tell you. But the 82 would just be complete overkill for that 12-row corn planter. Long and the short of it, I know there's people that do run 12 rows with these bigger tractors. I mean, essentially an 8235R is like an 8130 with the previous series, with the 8030 series. But still, the 82 would be overkill for that 12 row. I mean, she runs efficient. She really does. Comfortable. And it probably wouldn't take much to really get all the guidance and stuff in it. But then where would that leave the 46? And a similar boat as the 76, because the 76 in the spring really just does the harrowing and the minor jobs, pulling the liquid tank around if it has to. So it's not the end of the world that the 76 doesn't get used much, because like the last couple of years we've been wanting to. We don't know if it's going to happen. Like this year, the goal is to end of May, 1st of June, potentially have the 76 hooked up and ready to rock as far as making hay, making first crop last week of May, first week of June, and really aim to at least do 4 cuttings of hay this year. Ideally, that's what we would normally do, but it's Southwest Wisconsin, and weather is an issue in June, especially making dry hay. So, all right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching. Take care, take it easy, keep in touch. Very much so. Good luck. Well, not good luck, but just trying to keep up with everything that's going on around here. It's really shaping up. Tomorrow it sounds like it's going to be really busy. The next day is Jack's birthday party, so probably not going to get much done then. But like I said, we're working Sundays, so Sunday is going to be like a Monday to me, like to us. So we got to get manure hauled. That is a big push here for the next day or 2 or 3. Then once manure is done, potentially tillage. It's just that the frost has to get out of the ground. So I don't know. I'll film as much as I can, as much as you guys are willing to watch. So I'll talk to you guys later. Bye.